Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Hi guys. How you guys all doing tonight? Doing pretty good? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good too myself. Like my new haircut? Yep. Got a nice trim tonight, which is why I am very late with this review. And I know it's 11 o'clock at night. And I know the past couple nights, in fact many nights this week, I've been dozing off very early. So the fact that I'm still awake and doing this review right now is very surprising to me. I hope I don't gas out for sure during this review. There's a yawn there already, so it might happen. But I hope it doesn't happen. Because we have a very, very interesting live stream to talk about tonight. And that is my review of this past week's episode of Monday Night Raw. The March 3rd, 2025 review of Monday Night Raw that took place in Buffalo, New York. And this is one of the first times I'm going to say this in a positive way. After this show ended, I basically took my ideas for my WrestleMania 41 printed match card that I wanted to have done by now, by the way. But I don't have it done. I'm not even close to being done with it. Because I basically just took the papers and went. Because Triple H this year is basically entering, I know he's not in WWE anymore, Swerve's house. And you must love the chant, whose house? Swerve's house! Because he is swerving us left and right like crazy. I have pieces put together. I have the deck stacked against me for this WrestleMania match card. Because, no pun intended, I am trying to make my graphics for my WrestleMania card look kind of similar to how the current ones look, with each wrestler kind of having their own card with like their own logo on it. I'm trying to make something similar to that. But I still have my ways to go with that. Honestly, I may just work on it tomorrow when I watch SmackDown. Because I'm sure that show may make me change my mind on a few things too as well. Who the heck knows? But the road to WrestleMania, since John Cena's heel turn, or since Elimination Chamber period, has really, really changed the course, in my opinion. And this episode of Raw left me questioning things as to where are we going with some of this. But I'm intrigued. I love it. On my toes. It has me wanting to watch. It has a hook to it. So at least it's a positive thing. But dang, as a content creator trying to create material, man, it gets tricky. Especially, again, when I'm getting tired so many days. Like I said, I'm very surprised I am here live right now. but I'm going to do my best. So we are going to get rolling. Before we do talk about Raw, though, I did get, if you remember from my Elimination Chamber preview video, I did play some audio recordings from my good friend Robbie One Kenobi, and he actually had a follow-up to my response, which more so was, I mentioned he didn't really share too many things that he was concerned about, like where those things were. So he shared a couple of them. Most of them we've already really talked about, but I will, of course, out of respect for him, play them and talk about them just a little bit. And then we will get into the review. And then we will roll from there. So first, let's check our lovely live chat, which just has Tyler so far. Thank you as always for joining me, Tyler. He says, hi, Mike. Looks like Rhea versus Bianca is not at Mania, which I am surprised is not going to be one-on-one. I think there's going to be a change to the women's world title before Mania. Neither did I. Then again, Triple H is in the ship. Yes, he is. I definitely am very, very surprised by that main event. We had 3 title matches on the show. And the one that I thought would retain did not. But the ones I thought would change hands did not either. We will, though, again, talk about all that. But Tyler, thank you as always for your comments. Like I said, before we start with the Raw review, let's go to my Instagram messenger and play Robbie's recent messages and give my feedback, as some of these do tie into things, which we'll basically talk about. If it's kind of based off something that happened on Raw this week, we will talk about that as well when it happens. But let's go to Robbie. I believe he had 4 messages. So let's turn my volume up and let's play.
Mikey! Hey, first off, I'm sorry I couldn't join you for the live stream for Elimination Chamber preview and predictions. I'm dealing with the unexpected family matter at the moment, but I did get to watch it. I loved it. You did a great job. Thank you for acknowledging all my messages, questions, and whatnot. I really appreciate your opinion and everything. So if you decide to do a follow-up video, some of my concerns are, one, Lyra Valkyria, in the sense of how she's been booked so far as Women's Intercontinental Champion. Really didn't expect her to win the title. Nothing against her winning it, because I think she's a good, young, underrated talent, but just needs a personality. But up until that match she had with Dakota Kai on Monday, which I thought was a very good rematch compared to their first match, I just feel like the one thing she's missing is a connection with the crowd.
I think you can continue on a little bit to the second one, so we'll play the second of the 4 clips.
And also, as Women's Intercontinental Champion, I would hope she would have gotten the same treatment as Chelsea Green, because other than the rematch with Dakota, Lyra hadn't defended that championship since winning it. And Chelsea Green's had, I think, 3 title defenses, if I'm correct. So, yeah, that's one of my concerns. I just, was it too soon to introduce the Women's Intercontinental Championship? So they have waited until maybe the spring or the summer to do that. So that's one of my concerns. The tag team division...
We'll continue that one in a second, but to talk about it, yes. So myself and others have definitely said that Lyra Valkyria's booking as Women's Intercontinental Champion has been very questionable, and I do agree by that. On this episode of Raw, she had a match against Ivy Nile that they were kind of teasing, like they were teasing a serious feud between them. So much so, again, that was kind of an angle involved in the Women's Royal Rumble. Especially with how early they had Lyra eliminated. You would have thought that, again, I agree completely with Robbie. Lyra's an awesome wrestler. Again, I have been a fan of her since she was Aoife Valkyrie in NXT UK. Like I said, the first time I saw her wrestle, I'm like, that's gotta be a UK Women's World Champion someday. I think she did wrestle Kaylee Ray for the title, and maybe she also wrestled Mako when Mako had the title. She didn't win it, of course. She did win, of course, the NXT Women's title before she got called up. But I've always been a fan of her wrestling. I do agree, though, that she does lack a personality. She lacks a character. And I even said, too, when they gave her the Women's Intercontinental title, that this could be a thing where, you know, she builds a character as a champion. Because she could be a workhorse champion and have some excellent matches, which she has. Like, even though she hasn't won all of them, I thought her match with Bayley to qualify for the Chamber was excellent. I also thought she had a good match with Dakota again last week. And this past week on Raw, she wrestled Ivy and had a good match as well. But it feels like she's really not getting what like, you know, I'm sure we desire out of it. Like, it feels like she's having good matches, but she's not building a character. And yes, her losing her getting eliminated from the Women's Rumble as early as she was odd. Her losing to Bayley for the Chamber qualifying match as a champion, I kind of head scratched at that too. I thought she should have beaten Bayley, if I'm being honest. So those kind of hurt her there. And then she beats Dakota, which fans are getting behind Dakota. And then she has an actual story with Ivy, but now Ivy's out of the picture too. So who does she wrestle? Although they had a Judgment Day segment where they teased the idea of Raquel wrestling her, and I'm like, you're not going to do that for Mania, are you? Which, spoiler alert, the two women's the two women's mid-card titles and the United States title are the three titles I do not have on my WrestleMania match card. Like, some of them weren't going to make the cut. I'm sorry, there's four. The World Tag Team Champions also I don't have on my WrestleMania card, because there's really nothing building for it. Like, the only match, if Lyra would have a match at WrestleMania that I'd want to see is if they did her and Becky Lynch. But now, I don't even know if Becky's even coming back anytime soon. Although, of course, based off of CM Punk's promo, which we'll get to in a second, and a tweet apparently that Becky tweeted out but then took down, maybe it could be different, but we'll talk about that in a second. But I agree, yes, Lyra's booking has been iffy as Women's Intercontinental Champion. Like I said, is she having good matches? Yes. But it feels like she's not growing as a character, though, from it, as she should. But that was the first thing. Let's continue on with the next thing Robbie had to say.
Yes, unfortunately, the tag team division is lacking depth. So, like you said, two sets of titles, I think should really have just been one. No undisputed title, just like one brand new design for the champions to be on both shows, and then build the tag team division from there.
Yeah, so I agree. Like I said, this tag team, like I said, that's why I didn't put the World Tag titles on my WrestleMania card, because, like, yes, although War Raiders have had some good matches, especially the couple they've had with American Made, which they did beat American Made. I really thought American Made was going to win gold this week. But still a great match. Julius Creed also especially I thought was the star of the match. And some of the maneuvers he put up with, oh goodness. I think once you do, like, not, of course, anytime soon, but eventually split them up, I think Julius Creed's going to be gold as a single star. But they had good chemistry with the War Raiders, but they didn't win. But it's like, again, it's like, I don't feel like there's not really any tag teams that are, like, the division feels flat on both ends. Is there talented teams? Yes. But like right now, only teams I see wrestling WrestleMania is a triple threat with DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, and the Street Profits, which that's the problem I'm going to run into soon, is there's going to be too many triple threat matches at WrestleMania. And I don't like there being a lot of triple threat matches that feel like you're just trying to get people on the card. But again, it feels like there's a story going on with DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, and Street Profits. Of course, you know, they're having Los Garza and Pretty Deadly involved in there as well, but I don't like either one of them. Well, okay, Los Garza I can live with. Pretty Deadly, I just don't understand. So, like, But neither of them feel like they should be on the WrestleMania card. But they probably are going to throw someone in, who knows. But I'm still thinking a triple threat there for the tag titles. But like those, there's like a little bit of juice there, but not a lot. But yeah, I still think, again, there's not enough depth for the tag team division that they shouldn't have split the titles. They really should. They should have just kept it as just one set of tag titles for the men. And they'd go between both shows. But not what we're doing. So that one was kind of, we've already talked about that. Let's see what else Robbie has to say in the last two.
And then also, SmackDown being 3 hours, I don't think that's the right fit.
Yes.
Like, I have noticed the show has dipped a little in quality since becoming 3 hours. I heard Road Dogg became a co-lead writer, so...
Gotta talk about that, actually.
Yeah, let's see how that goes with Triple H now in charge. Triple H, giving the final say and whatnot. But those were just my concerns. Like I said, I hope that WWE can regain momentum with their product, both Raw and SmackDown, but more SmackDown because I feel like the 3 hours is really hurting it. Yesterday they had enough content to fill a 3 hour show, but I think Raw is more fitted for a 3 hour show with the proper roster. If SmackDown gets a huge roster boost and can fill the 3 hours, then yeah, but if not, I hope they go back to 2 hours soon. And then concerns with the women's division, frustrations I've heard about with their booking and whatnot. But the source that I got that from, I think, is questionable. I've never heard of that website.
Yeah, again, especially also, as I said before, with the with how Raw now kind of has like a loose time. Like, what makes Raw better now, besides the fact, again, it has a roster that can do 3 hour shows, but also like they can, trim it a little bit and not have it be 3 hours. Where SmackDown is stuck on that time frame right now. And again, they still, although they've made some changes with the transfer window, it's still not enough right now. Like, the roster is not strong enough on SmackDown for a 3 hour show. So I completely agree with that one. And then his last one.
So yeah, Mike, those are just my concerns. Lyra's booking as Women's Intercontinental Champion. Chelsea's booking a little bit recently as Women's Intercontinental Champion. Still over. Still a great act. I love her. She's great. But I just want to make sure that she and Lyra get equal booking as the respective mid-card champions of their respective brands. Hopefully some more time for the women. Because I saw this link, this story online about women's frustrations within WWE, but the source that published it, I've never heard of before, so I gotta say that's questionable. But yeah, I just want the company to continue to thrive the way it has been under Triple H's regime. There are some people that I hope can get a push, and I love what you said about how he's tried with certain people, but he realizes that they're pretty much damaged goods, or that there's just no going back from that. So yeah, keep up the hard work, man. If you decide to do another video to address what I stated, I look forward to it.
Yeah, so basically most of the stuff I already did talk about, but I'm glad he just elaborated a little bit more on it. Tyler had a couple more comments. Let me see here. He goes, I don't like one tag title for both brands. We need 2 tag titles for both brands. So Tyler still thinks we should have 2 titles for the men's brand, which again, I would be opposed to, but again, there's just not the depth right there for there to be 2 separate champions. That's why I would have personally kept it as one. But again, we can agree to disagree. And SmackDown needs to be 2 hours. Yes, it does not have the roster for a consistently strong 3 hour show. But thank you for your thoughts, Tyler. Again, I gave my thoughts already on mostly like American-made topics, because that was mostly stuff that tied into what Robbie had to say. But let's talk about the rest of Raw, which again, I thought was a really good Fallout show, and it's still tricking us. Like I said, like after this show was done, and which I did doze off, and I had to rewatch the main event, but I saw that EO won, and I was just kind of like, Hunter, you're just tricking me everywhere. But I love it. Again, I love that we're getting fooled and we don't know quite where things are going. Other than probably some multiple triple threat matches, which again, I'm not a fan of doing like multiple triple threats. I keep it just to 1 per show, but it's probably gonna happen. Again, I don't know what else you'll do with Rhea Ripley at Mania or Roman Reigns, which I do have I do have like something that I do want to mention about CM Punk when we get to the end of the show. Because I did post some polls recently. But let's talk about this. And also, you said, I think SmackDown has a better tag division than Raw. Absolutely. Yeah, that's why I think we'll be seeing them in a WrestleMania match. But anyways, let's talk about the show. So, of course, many times throughout the night, we got recapped and reminded about John Cena selling his soul to The Rock. Which I did read that I think Cena's next appearance is on the March 17th episode of Raw. So he is going to be back soon. And I still can't wait for that first promo he does. But the show starts off, though, with CM Punk storming into the building and getting to the announce desk. And he is pissed. He says this is going to be fun for him, but not for us. And he might just get Raw canceled off of Netflix. This is a State of the Union address for WrestleMania. And he wants to address his enemies. And since he's CM Punk, that's everyone. He asks the crowd for a name. And the first name they say is The Rock. So Punk calls out The Rock. And he calls Dwayne a bald fraud. And just because he's on the board of directors, he's not immune from criticism. He's dealing with the best in the world. Middle-aged crazy. And he walked back into WWE after 10 years and marched through hell to earn opportunities. But Mr. Midlife Crisis walked in and felt like it because he feels like he's a bigger star than anybody else. Which, unfortunately, Punk, that is kind of true about The Rock with how popular he is. He loved to say to his face, Barack is too busy to pretend to care about this business and pretend to get business. He's never been desperate enough, though, to hold a fake title and declare himself the people's champion. Because he earns it. He's never been so desperate as to sell his soul. Which then brings him to John Cena. You can't see me. Well, we all could see right through you. And Cena stole something from him in the chamber. He gave him the benefit of the doubt, given his career, but you don't fool him twice. Hustle, loyalty, and respect for 20 years. But now everyone sees that that's bullshit, just like he has all this time. He didn't quit at Chamber, but Cena did. He gave up on the kids. He's going to get hands on both of those bald frauds, and when he does, they're going to wish he hadn't. But he says that's down the line. And then for the man who has all his attention, little brother Seth Rollins. Becky Lynch better come get her man, because if he gets to him first, he's going to put him in a wheelchair. Which this did lead to Becky tweeting out something basically responding back to Punk. I can't remember what exactly it was, but of course that got me wondering if maybe Becky's going to come back soon and get involved in this feud. I don't know. We'll talk about that direction in just a second. But as soon as Punk mentions that, here comes Seth, and it was go time. Punk charged up the ramp. They brawled all throughout the arena. Many security was there trying to break it up, but they kept getting through and just beating the hell out of each other, beating the hell out of security. So much so that they had to basically have have eyes on both of them and separated for the rest of the night. And just to fast forward real quick here, let's start getting into one of the main stories I want to talk about. They announced that next week at Madison Square Garden, CM Punk and Seth Rollins will square off again inside of a steel cage. So we're not doing the match at WrestleMania as I thought we were, which I think is a little bit strange. Which is making me think either this match is either going to end with Seth winning and they're 1-1 and they want to do the rubber match at WrestleMania. Or CM Punk wins and he he tries to use the favor that apparently Paul Heyman promised him with him tagging with the Bloodline at Survivor Series and gets his championship match at WrestleMania. Or Roman Reigns comes back and sets up the rumored triple threat with Seth, Roman, and Punk. Now, I have my thoughts on this. Like I said, one thing they may do, since of course, CM Punk is talking about Becky Lynch and Becky responded through a tweet that she deleted. I think there's a chance of 3 different things happening for CM Punk in WrestleMania. One of them is he is not wrestling Seth Rollins one-on-one. But I do think there's a chance we could see Becky Lynch return. And if Becky returns, then there's a good chance AJ Lee could be coming in. And maybe we'll get a mixed tag at Mania with CM Punk and AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. Which would be quite a match, just an FYI. The likeliest scenario based off the rumors is I think Roman Reigns will return next week. And I think he will set up the rumored triple threat with Punk, Rollins, and Reigns. I still don't got a problem with that because that match still feels super thrown together. But what else is Roman going to do at Mania? I originally thought he was going to maybe face Jacob Fatu. Because if they were going to do Roman Reigns versus The Rock, they would have had it set up by now. That's not a match you want to wing at the last minute. But I do think that's what's going to happen is Roman's going to come back and it's going to set up for that triple threat. The simple story of, Punk wants his hands on Rollins, Roman wants his hands on Rollins, and that's going to make Rollins still, I guess, an actual heel or a de facto heel. I don't know. The one, though, that makes more sense to me, based off the stories we've gotten so far, is Punk wins and he uses that favor from Paul Heyman to main event WrestleMania, and he gets added to the Cena and Cody match. You see, that's not my number one pick. I still think that match between Cena and Cody should be one-on-one. But I feel like Punk has a case here. And like I said before, he could beat Seth, even if, of course, Roman gets involved and just do Roman and Seth at Mania. But I like how, again, Punk claims that Heyman owes him a favor. And the favor could be him getting his WrestleMania main event match. Because, we don't know how many more opportunities CM Punk's going to have the main event WrestleMania. Like, if he doesn't do it this year, how do we know for sure he's going to be able to get it next year? Because unless if they throw him into the match with Cena and Rhodes, or if they decide to make the triple threat with him, Rollins, and Reigns, I don't think that match would main event a show. It may open night 2, but like I said, based off how things are, it would make more sense if he was added into the world title match. But I say if you really want to do a triple threat with him, stick with Punk and Reigns and Rollins, because I still think that match with John Cena and Cody Rhodes should be left for itself, in my opinion. But yeah, great stuff there. Definitely one of my favorite parts of the show for sure was stuff with Rollins and Punk. Judgment Day are chilling backstage, celebrating Liv and Raquel recently winning the women's tag titles, while Finn Balor is sitting there in fumes, complaining about how he got embarrassed last week. Dominic Mysterio has been mentioning bringing in a new member, which Finn is totally against, of course. But, of course, they would later, of course, call out Braun Breaker. And then Braun basically just, speared their asses. And I'm just, I'm confused as which direction we're going to with Braun. Because it looked like at first he was going to be having a match with AJ Styles. That hasn't happened. Now it looks like AJ Styles is calling out Logan Paul next week. And Braun Breaker, I'm still thinking a multi-man match. But even if you would throw Finn Balor in there, it's kind of like, why is Finn getting a title match when all he does is lose? A little strange on that part, I thought. But so we got that. Now, surprisingly, we had Gunther come out, and again, he's picking on the Alpha Academy to use them as bait, basically, just to wrestle these matches until he gets to Jay at WrestleMania 41. Which, spoiler alert, I still think should be 2 out of 3 falls. But, Gunther comes out, basically just gets on American Alpha, and then he has a match with Otis. And this match was so good. Otis really pushed Gunther. And to me, I just watched this match and I'm like, you could make Otis a world champion if you really wanted to. But of course, they keep holding it back in like a low card spot. But I think he really pushed Gunther to his limit in this match. Very good spot. Very good stuff. But Gunther had to work like hell to get Otis to stay down. So I hope that's a sign to come that good things are to come for Otis. He definitely deserves it. But Gunther does win, and afterwards, he goes to attack Alpha Academy. Jay comes out to try to make the save, but then A-Town Down Under get involved, and off that distraction, Gunther choked out Jay. So that's basically the gist we're going to get for the next 6-ish weeks, as I would think so. We got that. Oh yeah. AJ Styles was being interviewed, and basically, he said he was going to call out Logan Paul. But also, Karrion Kross had like a little, devil on your shoulder vignette again on him. And we'll see where that goes. I already talked about Ivy losing to Lyra. I already talked about Seth and Rollins. We also got this unique video package of Chad Gable trying to find out how to beat the Luchadors. And he's in Mexico. Eventually, though, he meets a man with like a long gray beard, and he tells him he can't fight what he doesn't understand, that he must become Lucha. So he gives him this box for like $400, and of course he opens it, and of course they cut it there. What it was, I don't know, but I'm sure for $400 it had to be something very worthwhile, but we'll find out in the coming weeks, I guess. I already mentioned how also American Made lost to War Raiders. Still was an excellent match, but I'm surprised they didn't win any gold whatsoever. We also got a recap of Sammy and Kevin's unsanctioned match and Randy Orton's return, which again, they're going to be having a match probably with Randy and Kevin at WrestleMania. LWO cut a promo on New Day, and they're basically hyping up for the Tornado Tag match they're having next week. New Day versus Dragon Lee and LWO. That's where we all got the segment with Finn and Bron, blah, blah, blah. And then the main event was Io versus Rhea. Unreal match. But, and also forgot to mention this too. Earlier in the show, they interviewed Bianca Belair. And she said she wasn't really focused on what was going on with Naomi and Jade, but who her opponent's going to be at WrestleMania. Still getting very heelish there, but match still was still awesome. Like I said before, anytime they've taken the cuffs off Io, they've really had her launch it out of the park. And that's exactly what she did here. But then, based off of some distractions from Bianca, it led to Io getting the win. The surprise win for sure. I did not expect it. But, yeah, Io's going to WrestleMania. A lot of people are saying they only did this just so someone else besides Bianca or Rhea could pin Io and something like that. They're trying, or something that they're trying to do to protect Bianca's WrestleMania streak, apparently. But yeah, some way, somehow, because of how they brawled outside the ring a little bit, we all know that that Rhea's going to get back into that triple threat match and make it multiple ones. I don't know, but yeah. That's going to do it, guys. Nothing else we're going on to live chat, so I'm going to cut it here. So thank you guys again for joining me live. If you join us live afterwards, though, leave your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. I gave this show a B+. Slap a like on the video and subscribe. More content on my channel. And follow me on Twitter as well, The Club with the Man 93, and on Instagram at The Club with the Man 1993. Well, boys and girls, I'm tired. Got through it. I'm going to go to bed. Peace out. And have a great rest of your night.